Welcome to Things You Don't Know, where the shadows of reality creep. A little closer and certainty gets left at the door. I'm Dr. Weaver, and today we're delving into something utterly bizarre, bizarre. People who disappear and return, but they don't come back the same. Some claim to have walked through centuries. Others speak of wars not yet fought, or empires that haven't fallen yet.
I'm Dr. Sean Deneen. This isn't just an urban legend, folks. We have documented cases, eyewitness reports, official documents, even police statements of people who appear out of time. Some return speaking forgotten languages. Others vanish in the present and are reported centuries in the past.
And I'm Chandler Foster. Well, you might think this is just mental illness or folklore, but the consistency across cultures, time periods, and even continents, that's the part we can't ignore. What if time travel or timeline slippage was in science fiction at all?
Yeah. Let's begin in Pennsylvania in 1832. We're calling this the Green Man of Duffy's Cut. Dozens of Irish laborers building the Philadelphia and Columbia Railroad die mysteriously. Officially from cholera, unofficially bludgeoned, buried in a secret mass grave.
Now let's fast forward all the way to 2008. Wow, long way. A man is found wandering the outskirts of Philadelphia's train depot. He's wearing rough woolen clothes and hand-stitched, speaks only Gaelic. And when he's questioned, he only insists that the year is 1832 and that he has come to finish the work.
Amazingly, he gives his name as Patrick O'Callahan, and that's one of the real names found on the Duffy's Cut death ledger. Medical staff say his skin shows signs of malnutrition common to the early 1800s. He had rickets. When he was shown a cell phone, he called it devil glass.
He vanishes from a locked hospital room days later. No surveillance footage, no witnesses. It's like he walked back into the past or got pulled back. And here's the kicker. Two more P.O. Callahans have shown up over the last decade in different states. Same name, same look, same confused claim. I was building the rail, he says.
We call these men repeaters. People or personas that reemerge over and over, possibly stuck in some kind of time loop, or maybe echoes?
Yeah, it's just really weird. It wouldn't be as nearly as strange if it were just an isolated case, but there have been several. And these people seem very sincere in what they're saying, in terms of what day and time it is and that sort of thing. Now, we can say that people get confused about that. I mean, haven't we all thought,
Not to this extreme, I don't think.
no, I
No,
wouldn't,
I wouldn't think so either.
yeah, I wouldn't think so. And especially rickets and the same appearance centuries apart. The coming and going, the disappearing. It's just interesting. Let's take a look at 1901. Charlotte Moberly and Eleanor Jourdain visit the gardens of Versailles. They report a sudden, silent shift in the atmosphere. As they say, the air becomes heavy, sounds dull, dull, dull. The light dims, and then people in powdered wigs walk by. A woman sketches under a tree, later identified by them from pictures as Marie Antoinette.
But you know what's really striking, though? It's their precise and vivid memories. They described hairstyles, uniforms, and even a guard wearing a green coat, not historically known until a diary surfaced confirming that green was worn on one specific day in 1789.
Now, let me put on my historian's hat here. That's a day towards the end of April in 1789 where Louis XVI made the decision for the first time in 150 years to call the Estates Generales, the French Parliament. Historians chalked up this vision to hallucination or heat stroke, but they weren't alone. Since then, at least 6 tourists have reported the same sensation in that very same garden. And the people they see, always the same, always dressed the same, always in 1789, always just before the revolution.
Could Versailles be a thin place, unquote? A pocket where time overlaps, where one moment in history bleeds into another? Or is this a form of collective memory, etched into the land like grooves on a record?
Let's talk about the man from Taured Tokyo Airport, 1954. A smartly dressed man arrives carrying a briefcase and a passport from the nation of Taured. Customs officers think it's a prank, but the passport is actually real. It has stamps from France, Spain, and Germany. His courtesy matches European styles, but not any specific country from Europe.
He becomes angry when they question him. He insists Tarad has existed for over 1,000 years, located between France and Spain. He even points to it on a map, where Andorra is. The embassy he names doesn't exist. They lock him in a guarded hotel room. The next morning, he's gone, vanished.
This man is often used as evidence for interdimensional travel, slipping from one reality to another into our reality by mistake. But here's what's rarely mentioned. There was another passport which surfaced in 1978 in Brazil from Tourette, with different stamps, a different name, but the same state emblem.
So, are we dealing with travelers from parallel Earths? Or with travelers from our future where borders and nations have changed? There's a theory by serious physicists that postulate that there are parallel universes and times. So it's not just the tinfoil hat people that came up with this notion of parallel dimensions in our universe. Strange.
Quite peculiar if you ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah. James Liniger, age 2, starts screaming about plane crashes, describes taking off from a boat called the Natona Bay, names the pilot Jack Larson as his friend, claims he was James and he was shot down by a Japanese plane.
Turns out, friends, James Hudson Jr. was a real pilot. He flew off the USS Natoma Bay. He died in 1945. The boy knew details that weren't even made public. His drawings, and this is a 2-year-old, included unusual aircraft components, ones he couldn't have seen or known about anywhere.
Reincarnation? Genetic memory? Or wild thought? Time loop linkage? A life lived twice? Overlapping? Could could time recycle, you think?
These are awe-inspiring ideas.
Absolutely. Very interesting to think about. Another case, a girl in India who recalled a past life. She led her family to the village. She even pointed out her former homes. She even named her killer. Isn't that crazy? He
Out of
could,
this world.
yeah, that's crazy.
I understand he confessed to the murder also, and that her memory of a past century helped solve a modern murder. Quite amazing, actually. So let's talk about science. Mainstream science says time travel isn't possible, at least not backwards. But certain theories leave room for anomalies. There's something called the Einstein-Rosen bridge. Popular name is wormhole. That could theoretically connect distant points in space-time.
You know, quantum mechanics also suggests that particles can exist in multiple states at once. Superposition. If consciousness is quantum, could our minds slip into different timelines while the body stays behind, you think?
It's at least theoretically possible. And let's not forget John Titor, the alleged time traveler from the early 2000s. Most called him deluded or a hoax. But some of his predictions about technological advancement and geopolitical shift have aged oddly very well.
Here's where it gets even more eerie. From Ireland to India, from 1901 to 2021, these cases repeat. The settings change, the names change, but the core pattern, disappearance, time dislocation, return with impossible knowledge. Hmm.
You know, these aren't just your ordinary, ghost stories. They might represent a deeper flow in our understanding of time. What if time is less like a line and more like a spiral or a spider web where the threads occasionally touch?
Cultures throughout history have always told stories of spirit realms, fairy abductions, and lands where a day equals a century in our time. Maybe they were just interpreting what we now call time slips.
So, the next time you read about a missing person or hear of someone turning up with no memory, odd clothes, and strange scars, pause. Ask yourself, did they really just wander off? Or did they step out of time and back again?
History is a lot more porous than we like to admit, and memory, whether of a nation or an individual, maybe it's not bound to one body or one life.
Time may be the strangest frontier of all, and maybe some people have already crossed it.
Yeah. Well, look, thanks for joining us on this episode of Things You Don't Know. If you've ever felt deja vu in a place you've never been, or dreamed vividly of a life you never lived, Maybe you've touched time's veil yourself. So, until next time, stay curious and watch the clock.
Absolutely, friends. If you like this, give us a comment, a like, a suggestion. There are many wonderful things coming up both on this side and our sister side, History Twists. Please come back to listen to them. It's really exciting for us to do that. And may I say, we are truly blessed, Chandler, with your insights and your understanding of so many things. You make this task more enjoyable and a
Well,
lot
thank you.
easier.
I try to help out as much as I can.
Indeed, you do a good
Well, I
work
appreciate
here.
that, and thank you.
All right. Bye for now.